Hi, welcome to DramaMeans. We're talking about the 2024 Chinese drama Men in Love. Today, drama means growing older, drama means love at first sight, and drama means being immature with those people that actually matter to you.
And first, a little summary. As they enter their early 30s, a tight knit group of friends realize they're no longer at an age where they can behave freely like immature kids. But the foursome navigates through their love and career lives just as clumsily as when they were young adults anyway. Only this time they have to pretend like they know what they're doing. So, this reminds me of a show that I actually kind of liked. It was an American show about men aging with dignity called Men of a Certain Age with Scott Bakula and Ray Romano and Andre Brower, and there was another one, and I can't remember who else was in it. But I really liked the show because I thought it's interesting when you think about where love stories and coming of age stories are told. They're told in high school and preteen and college. And then once people are in their 40s and 50s, we kind of stop telling stories about your life, like how your life changes. Like we had the Golden Girls, I feel like, and Men of a Certain Age was kind of like the men's answer to the Golden Girls. And I thought the show was done really well. So like that's what reminds me. This kind of show like reminded me of that, or at least the premise.
Yeah, well, funny you said dignity because I feel like this drama is a loose remake of the Korean drama Gentleman's Dignity.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've seen that one. So was it? Do you think it's a direct adaptation, or they just kind of took some inspiration and?
So I'm not sure because a lot of I don't think they ever advertised this as a remake of Gentleman's Dignity, but everyone in the comment section claims that it is.
Huh.
The thing is, it's so loosely remade because they just took the concept of it, and then after that, most of it is like not the same.
Right.
So they don't go through the same challenges. The only thing that's kind of similar is in the Korean version, um, Chang Dong-gun's character has like a son that comes and like lives with him, and it's like this whole like his ex-wife kind of thing, and then Kim Han-il has to deal with like the fact that her boyfriend has a son now. And so in this one, there is an ex that comes back and has a child, but the child is not his.
Oh, okay.
So other than that,
So still not direct adaptation from that story either.
yeah. So pretty much nothing is a direct adaptation, but I feel like concept wise, it could be similar. I don't know if you remember me talking about this, and I think this was like back in our preview episode, and we're talking about like past dramas that we've watched, and I said there was a drama that literally had two characters, the main male and female lead. Um, Basically, we're staring on each side of the door.
Okay.
For like over 5 minutes, just like melancholic and like sad, and like the crazy like sad music is going on, and it's like at the end of an episode, so that like they're just literally staring at the door, like after they've closed, like she closed the door on his face, right, and then like they're just like sad and in tears but staring at the door for like 5+ minutes, then end episode, and then next episode starts, and it starts exactly at the same spot, so then we get another 5 minutes of the next episode of them staring at a door.
I'll tell you one thing, it's easy to produce. Doesn't take very many shots to shoot that. I like it. Economy of scenes.
Well, that was Gentleman's Dignity.
Didn't we watch something recently where they stared at the same door, where the rich family and all the son-in-laws have to make the memorial.
It was Queen of Tears.
Queen of Tears, and like she's on one side of the door, and he's like comes to the door, and he's like, "Will he open the door?" And she's like staring at it as if she knows he's about to open the door, but like how could she? And then he just stares at the door, being like, "Nah." nah, I'm not going to go in this time. And then they both kind of like stop staring at the door and then they leave.
Well, that was so short. That was like a short moment.
I don't know. It felt like long to me. I was like, what are they doing?
Well, compared to Gentleman's Dignity, which is like literally like 10 minutes of them just staring at a door, like that drove me crazy. And I'm like, really? Come on.
Well, at least they didn't adapt that moment into this show. Let's
Yes.
give that a win.
Yes. I do have to say that this is a little bit more modern, or like just feels like it's with the times, because at that moment, Gentleman's Dignity was it aired in 2012.
Okay.
So quite a while ago. So it today, Men in Love, it's a little bit more feminist forward. There's literally like a moment. It's like one of the first scenes where they're in the same bookstore and she buys his magazine, because like she goes to the bookstore and buys every issue of their magazine.
Okay.
And he's there to like check on like sales and stuff like that, right? And the bookstore owner keeps asking her about if she's married, and like, oh, she's at a certain age, she should be married, and blah 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 blah. And she's like, okay, and like feels awkward, and then pays and leaves. And so then he goes up to the register for something, and then the owner says something and was like, oh yeah, that girl is this age, and she's not married yet, and he like basically says something to like put her in place and be like, basically like very feminist like thinking, and like supporting like, women not wanting to get married, and then the owner being really dumb for asking those questions, kind of thing.
Maybe like a mind your business, you old bitch.
I mean, not as straightforward, but he was very like poetic about it. But he was very like standing up for like, what women would want. So it just kind of like immediately puts him like in a good light, like I guess as a woman, who has countless times been asked like, oh, when are you gonna get married, and when are you gonna have a baby, like all that stuff, right? So yeah, and it also kind of goes with like the current in China. It's like they're going through a very big feminist movement, and you can really see it in like the current dramas with like the strong female leads, and like, just kind of like the toxic men mentality, and like putting those men in place.
Yeah, it's a progressive movement towards more independence, more equality, all that stuff.
So we see that in Men in Love.
So can we talk about the first cringe part of this, which is I can count on no hands how many times my clothes have been caught on someone else's clothes when I meet them. And then we get tangled up together and we're like, oh my God, my button is like on your button. And then like, oh my gosh, your like, shirt is unraveling. Oh, what a interesting conundrum we've gotten ourselves into. I have seen it on dramas more times than I can count. This doesn't happen in real life. This should stop happening in dramas. Let's put it on the list of tropes to die. Getting your button caught on her dress. Guys, writers out there, no more. We're done with this.
Yeah, it is literally so... I mean, I'm sure it's happened at some point.
Never. It's never happened in real life.
Yes, it has.
Never happened in real life.
But it's just been seen so often that it's like too played out, and I'm just sick of seeing it. So this, and the thing is, like, she literally is wearing a red dress so that when she pulls, or when he starts walking away, or she walks away, and like the red thread that connects them, and it's like they're fated lovers, kind of.
I'm a little sick of that too.
I know.
I'm a little sick of the red thread. Like, oh my gosh, the red thread that binds you, because now you can be with no one else. But shut up. Like, I get it. It's mythology. I get the mythology of it, but it feels a little played out. It feels like we need a new tune.
Yeah. But they did it. And at least in this one, she wasn't a complete bitch to him when it happened. She is a little embarrassed. But unlike Rin from Voice in the Rain.
I knew you were going to bring up Voices in the Rains.
Oh god, she was such a bitch. I can't even, like, the rudest person ever. But yeah, at least she wasn't like that. And then he was also very like gentlemanly, and like trying to fix the situation so she's not embarrassed, and then like showing or revealing parts that she should not be revealing or whatever. So he does help her with that and like solve the problem. And then later he gifts her like a new dress.
Yeah, I mean, they made it all make sense. I'm just not sure they needed to do any of it. And don't get me wrong, the first time I saw the kind of fated lovers red thread, like it's a cute idea, it comes from mythology, and they're kind of like banking on the history, and so it's like a cool thing the first time you hear of it. You're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you realize how often it's used. And you're like, well, that's not actually that cool or quaint if everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you know what's really cute? Meet cutes. Yeah, I get it. They're cute. That's why they're called meet cutes. You're not special. Move on.
Yeah.
So I don't think they did it in a poor way.
They did it in a better way than other dramas have done it, but it's so generic of an idea now because every drama has it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like you're trying very hard if that's the scene you put together.
I actually can't decide if I like the fact that she's had a crush on Jia Cheng before meeting Yehan. Basically, it was love at first sight for him, but at least like at, I like the fact that because they're older characters that like they have a little bit of baggage. They have like they've had previous experience even though like hers was just a crush on somebody. But it's like not like he's got her first love and she's his first love. I'm kind of sick of that whole like first love thing. So I do like that, but I don't know if it really needed to be. It's not even that messy, but I don't think it really needed to be that messy.
Yeah, they were just looking for a way to keep her and him from getting together right away and her to return his admiration so quickly.
Yeah.
And so, like, directing it somewhere else. I mean, we always talk about like love triangles, even if they're not real love triangles, or the lowest hanging fruit as far as the obstacle for a couple.
Yeah.
Like, it can't get any lower hanging fruit when you're talking about romance,
Yeah.
storylines. So, wow, put someone else in there to like screw it up. And in this case, it's done with a lighter touch. It's not like, she's already with someone else and then he comes in. She has a crush on a guy, and so her eyes are kind of focused here, and she's not really looking at him this way yet.
A lot of people online when this was airing was like really mad at her character for like not accepting him because he had done so much for her and was like just like the most gentlemanly guy and just like pursuing her so vigorously but like in a nice way, not like creepy way, although he was like faking running into her a lot.
Uh-huh. Oh, you like Pilates? Me too. You like old movies? Me too.
Like, whatever it is. But like, yeah, he was like very much like coincident, like creating coincidences. Right. And so, but like in less of a terrible, gross stalkery way, I guess. I don't know.
Listen, a stalker story is a love story, except for the love is unwanted and the characters are uglier. Like,
I don't know. Whatever it is. But people were very mad at her. And I get her though. Like if you've had a crush on someone for that long and you've like I mean, it's basically pining for someone, right? And if someone else like pursues you, even though like your crush is over because he is now with your roommate, and you have to go through a period of time of like healing and like understanding your feelings and like sorting them out before you can accept someone new.
absolutely.
Yeah, so
It's so human, and weirdly we talk about the immature group of friends still being immature. It's a more mature way of handling it than just going, oh, you like me? Yay! You know what I mean? Like, that seems very childish.
Yeah. And so, I understand why she didn't accept him right away. Like, if I were in her position, I would also be like, I need some time. Like, I need to get over this.
Fans have this issue, and I think we're going to talk about it throughout this episode of the podcast, but just because someone is nice to you and someone pursues you and someone wants you does not make them entitled to your time and attention. Let's just be clear, everyone out there. Fans do this thing all the time. Like, oh, but he just wants her so bad. That doesn't mean anything. She has to return it. No one owes you shit if you're pursuing them. They don't owe you anything. They don't have to give you a piece of them because you brought them some flowers. Get that mentality out of your freaking heads, please. It's just not how it works, and it's gross.
It really is. And it's just like, it's gotten to a point where, like, it's this, like, entitlement to other people.
Well,
Like,
it's kind of the celebrity culture. Like, we love our celebrities. They can't have girlfriends or boyfriends because then we'll get jealous because now they're not our... You don't own them. Just because you like their music and movies, you don't own them. They get to do what they want. They're humans too.
yeah.
Get over it.
They only supply you with the music and the shows and dramas and movies. Like, that's what they owed you, is like a project.
Yeah.
They don't owe you their lives.
But the fans take it deeper, and the studios and the distributors like buy into it by having meetups and, you know, teasing that maybe these two actors are actually together in real life, you know, all that stuff. So they feed into it.
Again, that's all like business. That's all money grab.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all fanaticism. They're capitalizing off fanaticism. But I think to this character, you know, like, I don't think he does it in a gross way. But just because someone's nice to you doesn't mean like, oh, she's being such a bitch to him. Like, all he's doing for her. It's like, she didn't ask.
yeah.
So if someone does something nice to you and you're not interested in them, leading them on might be kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But being like, I'm not ready for this yet. Yeah, you have the right to not be ready for whatever you're not ready for at any time.
And he does. He's like, okay, you're not ready for it, or you are not accepting me. I'm at a certain age where I'm not going to chase you around.
Which is also more mature than if this took place when they were 17 or 18 years old, which is nice. At least they're coming in this theme, they're bringing this to us, and they're staying true to it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of these I have an issue with. They write these 30-year-old characters, and then they all behave like they're 16.
Yeah, I agree.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah. So, like, I do appreciate the maturity of this in terms of, like, okay, you're not going to accept me. I'm not going to pursue you anymore. And there's actually no reason for us to talk anymore or see each other because we've already completed all transactions and I've, returned what I owed you and things like that. So it's just like, there's no need for us to see each other anymore. If you're not into me, I'm going to move on with my life.
I mean, we could talk about this in terms of men and women who friend zone people and kind of keep them on the back burner and almost give them unfair glimpses and well, you could be with me, but then don't ever let them get close enough. And I think people stay friends with people like that and are afraid to walk away because, oh man, maybe there's that chance that I'll break out of this friend zone at some point. And you're like, dude, you're being strung along.
The thing is, first of all, I hate the friend zone term, but like also, it's like, there are definitely people who keep other people in their back pocket because when they're feeling down about themselves, they know that if they contact that other person, they're going to make themselves feel more important. I understand that. But I also think, like, they never said that they wanted to be with you other than just friends. And the fact that you're staying as a friend because you want something from them, that is like such a rape mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and that like, okay, well, I'm just going to stick around and like wear them down, you know?
Well, I hate that idea. I hate the wear them down idea. I think it's gross on both ends.
Yes. So it's either just be my friend, like you said, you want to be my friend, or get out of my life. I don't need it.
But I think what he says here is like almost, I don't know if he says it quite to text, but it's like, I don't need more friends.
Yeah.
I kind of have friends.
Yeah.
So like, I wanted something romantic with you. You are not into it. Full respect. You don't owe me anything. But at the same time, I'm not just going to hang out and pretend that I want to be your friend while hoping that there's going to be more.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to back away. No harm, no foul.
And I appreciate that so much more.
Yeah. It's also more, it feels more real. And honestly, I think as opposed to the button on the clothes and the dress and all that stuff, I don't know if this happens in real life that often. I don't know if people can be mature enough to go, hey, you're great, nothing personal, not really looking for a friend. I got plenty of friends. So have a great life. Hope everything works out for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if people do that as much as they just kind of let it hang on and be this gray area.
Yeah. But I welcome this type of mature mentality compared to Find Yourself, where like literally the woman who's in her 30s, like portrayed as like this amazing career woman with a really good head on her shoulders, letting two men manipulate her in every single way, and just not having like the downright like immaturity. And it's just like whoever wrote that has no understanding of what maturity is.
Wait, when did this happen?
Sorry, this is another drama called Find Yourself.
I'm got real lost. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what happened here.
No, I know. I'm just comparing.
I hear you.
The mentality.
Yes.
You know, but yes. But with that said, when he does say, all right, you know, like, if you don't accept me, I'm at an age where I'm not going to go be strung along and like waiting for you to fall for me. Let's just not see each other anymore, right? She was really taken aback by that. Like, she was like, wait, what? You won't be my friend? You won't let me string you along?
No, it was a crutch. Like, it was almost a little bit of a, not a rebound, because she was never with the other guy, but it's a little bit of a crutch. It's a little bit of a friendly shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't get that.
Yeah, and the thing is, she got so used to him being around and, like, being there whenever she needed him that it was very, like, not devastating, but, like, jarring to her. Which made her think more about if she actually had feelings for him or not.
You know what they should have done? They should have made a pact to see each other in 10 years and then go no contact until they could be a fireworks apprentice or something.
Stop. We're not talking about that one. She is supposedly best friends with Ewan, right? Her roommate. They live together. They've known each other since they were kids. They grew up in the same town together, right? They are so close. Yet her best friend doesn't know who she has a crush on.
Well, she real dumb.
But it's like weird, like really you don't tell her anything? And like even if you talk about this crush, like, oh, she doesn't even know a name?
I mean, the only reason I can make work in my brain, like make that logic work out, is if the roommate has some sort of a relationship or is a meddling type personality that if I were to tell this person, then everyone would know. Like blabbermouth Pam, no matter what you tell her, she's telling everybody. But short of that, I don't understand why, if you say you're close with someone, like it's one thing to say it, well then the characters also have to behave that way, right?
Yeah. And they're just not that close, honestly. Like, there is, like, at one point when Xiao Xiao and Yi Tian are, like, having dinner and they're, like, meeting Yi Wen together for dinner. She's like, oh, well, Yi Tian is, like, knows you even better than I do. And I'm like, hell yeah, you know nothing about her. I'm like, are you guys even friends? Like, I understand if they're just roommates sharing a place, but they're not that close. But, like, she is portrayed to be her best friend.
Yeah.
and she knows nothing. And like, it's just weird to me. Like, oh, you don't share anything about you to your best friend? That's weird.
I don't understand the decision to do that, though. Like, what did it gain them to have this roommate in the dark? Like, what great drama did that unfold that it wouldn't have been a better idea for them to be more open? Like, those scenes would probably be better. I just don't quite get what we're gaining from that idea.
Well, the thing is, what it was it was just a tool for him to be helping her hide the fact that she had a crush on the other guy.
Okay.
Jia Cheng.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was all like, oh, she didn't want, she was like playing the like bigger person by like not letting Yiwen know that like Jia Cheng is her crush. And then and so she's being the good friend and letting her roommate have the guy kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, so then it like also makes it like, it also makes Yuan not like a bad friend by being with the crush.
Yeah, but in that case, just make them roommates. Don't make them best buds.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. They're like wading 1 foot in each pond, and then neither of it really makes all that much sense.
Yeah. But also, like, again, they're supposed to be best friends. And there's a scene where, like, Xiao Xiao, like, basically sees them together. And she was supposed to, like, go to this event with Jia Cheng. And then, but she thought she had, like, to go, she had, like, a meeting or something. And then her meeting got out, like, sooner. So then she, like, rushed to go to do this event, go to the event with Jia Cheng, and then Jia Cheng had invited the other girl, Yuan, right? And so then she was like kind of upset and like just had this like, you know, face. And I'm like, you're her best friend. You can't read her face. You
No,
guys
that was the face just for the audience. So the audience knows the emotions.
I don't know. It's just like weird, and it's like clear. It's so clear that they're not besties.
Well, maybe that's subtext, is that they're not besties.
I guess, but then they really tried to make it like they were.
They're trying to have it both ways.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, sometimes the old cliche is like show, don't tell. But a lot of times we try to tell the audience, like, oh my gosh, you're my oldest friend. Oh, I've known you since high school. And then the characters don't behave that way. But because you've told the audience that, then you're just like, they'll believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, it just doesn't, it's not consistent, and it's not thorough, and it's not a good idea.
And that's the thing. Like, we always say show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And like more and more dramas just want to tell you, and they're not showing you nothing.
Yeah, it's a cheat. I mean, I've used it in scenes where you don't have time to show a particular thing, and you just need to get it across. And so you just tell the audience how to feel or how to think. But then you can't turn around and contradict that or undermine that in another way. Once you say that out loud, then when you do have a chance to demonstrate that they're best friends, you have to stay consistent. Because let's just be honest, it's easier to tell the audience than to show them.
Yeah.
It's just easier, and so it's a shortcut. But it shouldn't be used as the main cut.
Yeah. So after Yehan and Xiao Xiao get together, she deliberately wants to keep it a secret.
Because they're 30. That's what you normally do with your relationships in your 30s, is you don't tell anybody in your relationship.
Well, it's so awkward and weird and like immature, because like it's not like they're celebrities. And again, it's like treating your friends as if they're not your friends, basically.
Right.
It just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel organic. And it doesn't fit their age.
I would understand if you're like a really private person and you don't want to share at work, or you don't want to share with your family right away because you're like, that's a pretty big step once they get to know your family and stuff. But like your friend group and the people you hang out with, if you have friend groups, it does feel like a little weird to go, I gotta just like don't tell anybody. Like it's just like keep it on the DL.
Yeah.
Like why? Because you're still trying to hook up with your friends. Like what's the reason we're keeping this on the DL?
Yeah. But the thing is, like, literally the whole reason why they wanted to be like a secret was because someone, maybe the director, maybe the writer, whatever, wanted this scene where they go off and they're like at this hotel, and then and they're like all like, she's like in her bathrobe, and then like the fire alarm goes off, and then everyone has to go down to the lobby or something, and then they run into their friends.
Right.
And then it's this like weird, awkward moment, and it's embarrassing for her, and then, it's like funny or whatever. But it's so cheesy. So then it's like, literally, you did that for that moment.
Right. And I understand it more. Like, I've known people who have, you have a big group of friends. Let's say you have a group of like 5 or 6 friends, and one of your friends has dated one of your other friends, and then they break up, and then all of a sudden someone else is dating her inside the friend group, and you know how pissed the rest of the friend group would be, or how, like, what a bombshell that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's history reasons why I could understand that, where someone would be like, oh no, me and so-and-so got together, we really like each other, but there are going to be other people that might have hurt feelings about it. It didn't feel like any of the group was going to have hurt feelings if they found this out.
No.
So you're like, you are only keeping this secret for the reveal scene, for the awkward reveal.
Yeah.
So, like,
contrived.
Okay. Contrived. That's the definition of contrivance.
Yes. So, yeah. I guess out of the 4 couples, I preferred the Jia Cheng and Yiwen's relationship more. It was a little bit like hot and cold, like the kind of passionate but casual relationship in the beginning, and then the backing off because he's this like, it's a little intimidating to have someone like that wealthy approach you. Like I personally, like, if I were pursued by someone like ultra rich, like billionaire, or like, well, he wasn't a billionaire, but like really wealthy and prominent family, I would freak out a little bit and I would back away too.
Yeah, it was like the cousins of the Kennedys, and you'd be like, do I really want to be a Kennedy?
Yeah, it's too much pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
So I understand where she's coming from. But also, like, that kind of, like, lingering feelings where, like, he's really into her, she really likes him, and they, like, really work together and, like, really kind of understand each other, yet, like, she just doesn't see their relationship working. And then being proven right by his mom, and so, and then having the, like, that pride where she's like, no, I'm not a gold digger, and she like truly is like, I don't care about this shit. I don't want your son, and then of course, her heart melts by his actions.
I mean, it feels like the most relatable from top to bottom, maybe, also.
Yeah.
Like, it feels maybe the least contrived when it comes to silly things, but...
Well, yeah. I mean...
Well, they're going to be setting up these characters to be together. That's just going to happen.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that when we point to things where it's like, yes, I know the writers need... You start seeing inside the hamster wheel that is the writing of it, then it starts going, it pulls you away from these characters.
Yeah.
And it felt like it was just more... The actions and behaviors of these two felt a little more organic, I guess I would say.
I do think that Jia Cheng really, like, plays the emotions well. But he does comedic also.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like just a fun character and like just the most likable, I think. Even though he did have like a minute where he's like against his sister dating his friend, which is like, I feel very understandable.
Well, especially the age difference.
Yeah.
And you're like, is my friend being a little gross?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, like, when you and I were talking about hidden love and how, like, if your best friend started dating your sibling, you would be against it too.
Yeah, I mean, it feels weird to mix in that way. And also, like, you're very protective over your family more than you are over your friends. And so, like, there's a reason friend groups shouldn't always date within each other, because then breakups happen and now it's weird in your friend group. And now the fact that you two wanted to be together, now we can't all have bowling night anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's more than just you and the person you're in a relationship with. It's now you and the person you're in a relationship with, and me and my family, and now it's all tied together. And I don't know if I want it all tied together.
Yeah. So, I like his character the most. As for the other two couples, I did not like.
Well, we talked about most loved. Let's talk about most hated. Spit it out. Let's go.
I absolutely hate Jialing. She is clingy. She is literally stalker. She is rich, entitled brat. So she has this whole, like, overbearance towards him, but also subservient towards him. Um, 1 minute she's very like, he's mine, and the next minute she's so, like, submissive and, like, walking on eggshells around him.
But it's a manipulation tactic. I mean, she's trying to get what she wants.
Yeah, yeah. And so everything just feels so creepy and gross to me.
But it also feels fake. Those two things don't line up. It feels like I'm the domineering, stay away from my man. And then also, anything you want, dear. Like, it doesn't feel like the same human being. And so it just feels manipulative in and of itself.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's obsession rather than love, in my opinion.
This goes back to something we talked about earlier in the episode of she feels entitled to his feelings. She feels entitled to him because she likes him. And that's just not true. He doesn't have to like you. Just because you're nice and you're subservient and here are your slippers, sir. Like, you don't have to fall in love with you. Like, he doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah. So fans or people who are watching the show was really mad at him for being too harsh and scolded her when she most definitely deserved a scolding. And it's just like, I think for them it's like, oh, you can turn her down, but you shouldn't turn her down in such a mean way. But I'm like, at this point, like, everyone has a bottom line. And he has been nice to her for so long. And he has known that she has feelings for him for so long. And she just, like, clings on to him, right? And so he has been nice to her because she is his friend's sister this whole time. And then she goes and crosses a line. It's his line. He decides where you should not cross. And she crossed that line and she fucked with his family. Even though his wife is dead and her mom is, like, not technically his mother-in-law anymore, she's still family. They live together. And Jialing literally fucked with his family. And, like, just pried her way into, like, his business where she was not allowed in.
Yeah, that felt so stalkery.
It's so
Like,
stalkery
it
and
felt
gross.
so beyond the realm of what a normal human would do. Like, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And it's just like, she crossed that line. She deserves to be scolded. She knew she deserved to be scolded because she fucked up. And it's something she deserved. It's not like he beat her. He told her what she needed to hear and what he was feeling. So now you're saying, oh, he can't be honest with her, is what you're saying. You know what I mean?
People are like, oh, you hurt her feelings. It's like, I know, but like, let's consider the other side. Like when someone stomps all over your boundaries, I'm not saying you're allowed to hurt their feelings, but there is a little justification for setting the record straight. And let's just be honest. Sometimes people have to be hit with the truth pretty hard in the face before they listen. Like sometimes people only listen when they're being screamed at. It's not okay, but sometimes you just have to take someone aside and go, stop doing what you're doing, asshole. Because you're not. I've been trying to be nice. You're not hearing me.
Yeah. And literally, she has been harassing him for like the past 10 years.
I hate to say it, she's a real Steve Urkel, this one. I always hated this character, this Steve Urkel.
Most people don't know who Steve Urkel is.
People know who Steve Urkel is. And if you don't know who Steve Urkel is, get yourself educated, folks. No, it's the nerdy next-door neighbor, has the crush on his neighbor's daughter, and she is so not interested, but he's the lovable loser dork who you feel sorry for that she keeps turning him down. And I'm like, I don't feel sorry for that doofus. Why would she want to be with the doofus? Like, I hated it on that show when they got together. I'm like, he's a doofus, and he's been just he literally says, I'm wearing you down. That's one of his catchphrases.
Yeah.
The only thing that saves that is it's a comedy. But still, it's always felt gross, these types of relationships.
Yeah.
Like, just take no for an answer and either be their friend, go the fuck away.
Yeah. So, I was even more mad when he fucking said, oh, I do like her. When she finally is like, oh, I'm gonna go back abroad and, like, finish my education because she, like, cut her education short to go pursue him. Because now she's of age.
Right. So, yeah. When we talk about maturity of the show, this is where the maturity of the show lost me. Because I didn't think there was a reason that every character had to be paired together. Every relationship doesn't need a happy, closed ending. Like, can't they both learn something from this and not be paired up?
Yeah.
Because them being paired doesn't make any sense.
I mean, she can be like, oh, I shouldn't harass other people. And then he should be like, oh, I should, like, let myself live a little and, like, meet new people. But it shouldn't be her.
It shouldn't be with each other. Absolutely not. She should totally have learned, I crossed a boundary and I lost someone I liked because I crossed a boundary, and I won't do that again. I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
But you already made the mistake. You shouldn't get the quote-unquote prize.
Yeah.
And for him, I don't understand why he likes her and why his first overture into, like, maybe I need to get my life back together. I need to start living my life for me is the stalker.
Yeah.
Well, she's convenient. Awful.
Yeah. No, it's actually like a pity date because it was like, oh, well, she did so much for me and she cared about me so much and she always knew exactly what I like and that I'm allergic to shrimp. Kind of bullshit.
That is important.
Well, yes, but, like, also fucking just tell people. Like, you also know you're allergic to shrimp.
You could wear a medical alert bracelet and you don't have to, like, date someone.
Well, he is getting to that certain age.
How dare you?
Yeah, so
I just take solace in the fact that I'm pretty sure they break up 1 week after the end of the show.
They're not really dating.
I'm just saying, these characters don't live happily ever after. She's annoying.
Well, they get married in the show.
No, he divorces her later. It's fine. I happen to know that for a fact.
Anyways.
In the sequel I've written in my fanfic. In my own personal Men in Love fanfic.
It's weird that you decided to do a fanfic about this particular.
I was very passionate about it.
Anyway, so they should never have been together. That is just not. That is so contrived.
Yeah, bad. Bad.
And then there's the married couple. Out of the four men. I don't even know where to start with this one.
what's that meme where it's just like, you're really starting to piss me off. Like, you're like, is there anything about this that is worth
Well,
even being mad at? Like, it's just so, who gives a shit? All of it, up
the
and down.
writing is so uneven with Lu Zheng's character because they portray him as like the worst husband ever. Like he will literally hit on any woman that walks by him, right? And he consistently hides his ring so he could pose as a single man. And he doesn't want anyone to know he's married, right? And he lies to his wife about everything. Like, I don't understand why you need to lie to your wife that you're going to go play video games with your friends when literally she already fucking knows.
Yeah, but I mean, they're portraying her as the scary woman he can't be honest with, right? Like, that's kind of what, I mean, I know, again, being said, not really being shown.
Exactly.
The character, oh, scary wife. Oh, I know, my wife is so scary. Cut to her being not scary.
Yeah. So it's just so like they make him right off the bat like a terrible husband. Then they try to redeem him by like in the middle of their story is being like very uh understanding of her and very like taking care of her and just like doting on her when they're alone together.
Yeah.
Right? And then like caring about her feelings and then making himself look bad so that she doesn't feel bad about herself.
That's the
Right?
whole baby thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like it's uneven because okay, you're just making his character do whatever you want to fit the plot.
But my bigger issue with the whole thing of what's like the thesis statement of this relationship. Pretty crappy relationship can be saved by a child unless you can't have children. Then your relationship is doomed unless you accidentally have a child. Like what lesson are we supposed to take from this relationship other than just kind of a jumbled mess of leftovers that they didn't know where to put it? Like it feels like the show needs 3 characters and then they had 4 or 4 relationships and they're like, "Oh yeah, and like we need the married one." We need the married one, the dating one, the love triangle one. And I'm like, "But do you though? If you don't have a story with it?" I don't get any of it.
Yeah. So, I hated that couple. And I mean, I actually liked the wife. Other than like I also don't understand why like oh if she can't have a baby why they need to divorce. Like I didn't understand her logic in that. Other than like yeah, she felt like she was bringing him down, but he didn't care. And he's like, we can fucking adopt if we really want a kid. Like, what's the problem? And I think weirdly people are still so against adopting, which is, like even people I know in real life are like, well, but if you adopt, you don't know like what kind of genetics they have and like.
I guarantee you don't know your own genetics. I guarantee you there's something in your genetics that you will find out when you have a kid and go, "Oh, I didn't realize my kid has this thing that was a recessive trait in my family all these years." It's such a stupid, nonsensical argument.
Yeah. So I also don't understand. I'm like, there are so many like kids in need out there in the world, and you're so against helping them. It's I don't know. It's just weird. But
That's what I
anyway,
say. I just don't understand like what this story was trying to say. Like in the other stories, I think I kind of understand the thematics of them all at least. Like even with the couple we just talked about, I understand the need for her to like start to understand the difference between obsession and crossing lines and boundaries, and she's a brat that's never been told no. And then I understand him needing to live his own life for him for once. Like thematics. I don't have to like the way they did it, but at least it's coherent. This couple feels just not nonsense, just gobbledygook.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, they accidentally get pregnant and then they get remarried because she's now can have a kid.
Ah, babies fix everything is the theme.
Ugh.
They also get divorced again in my fanfic. Weirdly, all these couples get divorced in my fanfic just because I'm an evil fuck.
Anyway.
And I'm a spiteful bitch for having to watch all this.
Well, I mean, you could have just left early. You could have been like, oh, this isn't for me.
Well, then we can't make a podcast episode about it.
We've talked about shows you haven't watched.
The fans don't know that.
Yeah, because you literally said, well, I didn't watch this one.
That's true. Well, fine. It's my own fault then.
Anyway, my rating for this is land sickness, because even after finishing it, I felt a little queasy.
I will give it a swearing to never board again, but my fanfic entitled Men's and Loves is drinks on a pool deck for sure. It is juicy, let me tell you. Available probably never. It's just going to live on my iPad.
Well, I mean, like, if it's spicy, I suppose. And it's Men's in Love?
Men's in Love. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it takes a BL turn in the...
Yes, I am for that. And lots of spice, please.
There we go.
Anyway.
Smuttyfanfic.com.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Why would I know this?
Well, you said it.
Recommendation, please.
Anyway, our recommendation for this week is one of my fave rom-coms from back in the day. So it's a very oldie. Some may not even been born yet. It's a Hong Kong movie from 2000, the year 2000. It's called Needing You, starring Andy Lau and Sammy Cheng.
One of the all-time greats for sure in Hong Kong rom-coms, which is hard to say. Hong Kong rom-com.
Say it 5 more times.
I will not.
Anyway, yes. So thank you for listening.
And we'll see you next time.